One of the approaches that we have in the fourth way is to, when we see ourselves and we observe ourselves in these kinds of situations, it can connect us with a desire to do something different, a sense of our innermost conscience, not based on blame and guilt, but based on what I want to be. How do I want to act? How do I want the children to manifest into adults in the next generation?
And in this philosophy, that would be called self-observing. Is that correct?
It's self-observing, but it's a step beyond that, because it's a step of also analyzing. So observation is just simply looking at it, and that's important as the first step. But at some point after a while of observing, we have to be able to correctly interpret the action and see what is required. The problem with immediately changing after observation is that we don't know exactly how to change, and we often change with something that's causing another problem. So this is why when self-observation is spoken about in many of Gurdjieff's teachings, and especially through Ouspensky, it's said to never change anything. But the never is actually just for a period of time in the learning process, because we don't know how to change.
It's more obviously the child is still bad. You're still a parent. You still are the person that was there, but you're responding more eloquently,
right,
in terms of your own deep desires,
right,
as opposed to automatically where you feel this disempowered separation. So and we've gotten pretty far afield from the issue of who was G.I. Gurdjieff, but I think that it is important that we've touched on this, because basically all spiritual teachings, not so much as heavily in the West, but everything in the East, is all about this sort of a transformational process. You find it less easily in the Western sense, but it is there. It's just easier to see it in the Eastern. And we've said already that Gurdjieff basically was a synthesizer. He created a school for doing this, a way of doing this that was more current with the times. And the general name for this, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the work.
Right.
Now, what is the work? Is it?
Well, the work is a short term for work on oneself, and the idea is that once we see there is a need for transformation, we either start observing and see ourselves mechanical, whatever the situation is. We then have to take steps of action to change that. And some of these steps are by working on expanding my awareness at any given instance, and working on developing my desire to be strong enough to enable me in these situations to have a different presence, to act in a different way. So all these things are lumped under the name work, because it involves intention and a certain amount of doing that goes against the grain. The normal current of life is basically reactional. We're taught how to react, and sometimes it serves us and sometimes it doesn't. But to go against that grain really requires a lot of initiative and struggle. It also involves a lot of submission and playfulness. But in general, it's called the work because there is something that has to very intentionally be approached.
And this system that Gurdjieff came up with is helpful to the Westerner trying to evolve in their own lives.
Right, especially because it's designed to be practiced in ordinary life. And one of the benefits of that is it can increase the quality of ordinary life. So as in the traditional paths where people go off into a monastery, often don't have children or whatever, it doesn't change the future in the same way. So if this is incorporated in families, in schools, in communities, it has the possibility of increasing the general level of humanity. So the fourth way is considered a path of service for that reason. So it's not just work for myself, even though it is work on myself. By working on myself in a job or as a parent, I affect those around me.
Indeed, a peaceful person in a stressful situation will command the situation, will help to move everyone through it successfully,
right,
inspire others toward that peace,
right,
direct them to it.
And especially as the times in society struggles get more intense.